Have you ever stopped to think about it? We're living in the 21st century, an era our ancestors could likely only dream of. We have more material abundance than ever before. Technology serves us constantly. Entertainment is incredibly diverse, and knowledge fits in the palm of our hand through a smartphone. We've inherited the pinnacle of scientific achievement, conveniences unimaginable just a few generations ago. Sounds like paradise, doesn't it? But let's be truly honest with ourselves for a moment. Amidst all this glitter, do you feel genuinely, deeply happy? Do you feel an inner sense of peace and stability? Or do you sometimes feel an indescribable unease, a vague anxiety, a sense of fragility, easily broken by the relentless pace of modern life? I'll admit, I sometimes feel that way too. It seems the more we have, the easier it is to feel lost. The more choices we have, the more confused we become. The more connected we are online, the lonelier we can feel. Paradoxically, despite living in our ancestors' dream, we seem more fragile, weaker, and more prone to collapse than ever before. As historian Yuval Noah Harari noted in *Sapiens*, humankind seems more powerful than ever before, but is little happier. Worse still, humans seem to be more irresponsible than ever. Why is this happening? Why don't material comforts and technological marvels automatically grant us a ticket to the shores of happiness? Perhaps part of the answer lies here. Modern society, in one way or another, constantly teaches us how to have more. More money, more comforts, more fame, more experiences. But ironically, it rarely teaches us how to live happier, calmer, more resilient lives in the face of life's inevitable storms. We're equipped with skills to conquer the external world, but lack the compass to navigate our inner world. We often mistakenly believe that chasing shiny material things, external successes, and praise from others is the shortcut to happiness. We throw ourselves into the rat race of earning, advancing, shopping, and experiencing, hoping that one day when we have enough of those things, we'll find peace. But then, like a desert mirage, true happiness seems to recede further away. The more we get, the more we want. Or worse, we realize that those things can't fill the deep void within our souls. Because, my friends, when we lack a solid foundation of inner values, we become incredibly vulnerable. A single criticism, a minor setback, or an unexpected loss can send us spiraling. We don't know what to hold on to when our inner world feels empty or when our internal compass isn't working. We flounder, anxious, and sometimes feel hopeless. So what's the way out? What's the key to reclaiming stability, peace, and true happiness, even when the world outside remains turbulent and uncertain? Today, BookSmart Insights wants to introduce you to an invaluable dose of mental medicine, a philosophy of life that has existed for thousands of years, yet feels incredibly relevant, almost tailor-made for the 21st century. That philosophy is Stoicism, and we'll explore it through the lens of a fantastic book. A Guide to the Good Life, The Ancient Art of Stoic Joy by William B. Irvine. Before diving into the specific principles of Stoicism, let's ask ourselves, why is having a philosophy of life so important in the first place? The great German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." A clear philosophy of life is precisely that why. It's like a map, an internal compass, helping us navigate the often stormy ocean of life. It tells us what truly matters, what core values we strive for, and how to make wise choices aligned with the person we aspire to become. William B. Irvine, in his book, makes a profound point that deeply resonated with me. we often live in suffering, anxiety, and dissatisfaction because we lack a coherent philosophy of life to guide us. Without this guiding framework, we're easily swept away by fleeting desires, societal expectations, and temporary negative emotions. Even if you achieve resounding success, acquire enviable wealth, or live a life of dazzling luxury, when unexpected adversity strikes, an illness, a loss, a career failure, you can still easily crumble if you don't have a solid inner foundation. Imagine you're sailing a ship on the open sea. Without a chart, without a compass, where would you go? You'd be easily tossed off course by waves, blown adrift by winds. Life is similar. Without a philosophy of life, we're like rudderless ships drifting aimlessly. So among the countless philosophical schools of thought, why does Stoicism emerge as a particularly suitable and beneficial choice for modern humans? Perhaps it's because Stoicism isn't some lofty, abstract system detached from reality. On the contrary, it's incredibly practical and action-oriented. From its inception, its core purpose was to help people live better, happier, and especially more resilient lives in the face of adversity. It doesn't promise a life free from difficulties. Instead, it equips us with the mental tools to face and overcome those difficulties with tranquility and strength. Understood correctly, Stoicism is an art of living, a practical toolkit for training the mind, mastering emotions, and finding joy and peace even in challenging circumstances. Think of it as a gymnasium for the soul, helping us build mental muscles to cope with life's inevitable trials. The author, William B. Irvine, a professor of philosophy, initially pursued the values modern society often celebrates: wealth, status, and fleeting pleasures. But then, at age 40, inspired after reading a novel, he embarked on a journey to understand and practice Stoicism. It was his profound personal transformation that motivated him to write this book, a book that not only introduces the theory, but also guides us on how to practice Stoicism in our daily lives through the stories and ideas of the great Stoic philosophers of antiquity. The goal of the book and the goal of today's video is to help 21st century individuals like us, people struggling between abundance and emptiness, between comfort and anxiety, find a path to live calmly, serenely, face a life inherently full of uncertainty, and most importantly, discover authentic happiness stemming from within. Sounds promising, doesn't it? Well then, let's begin our journey exploring the essential lessons from Stoicism together. To truly understand a philosophy, exploring its roots is crucial. Stoicism didn't appear out of thin air. It grew from the rich soil of ancient Greek thought and was deeply influenced by one towering figure, Socrates. Many of you have likely heard of Socrates, the brilliant philosopher known for his famous declaration, "I know only one thing, that I know nothing." He is credited with bringing philosophy down from the heavens to earth, inserting it into everyday life, into homes, to pose and seek answers to fundamental questions about life, ethics, good, and evil. Socrates didn't just teach with words, he taught with his life, a simple life dedicated to pursuing truth, unafraid of death when defending his beliefs. Socrates' courageous death profoundly impacted subsequent generations of philosophers, igniting a flame in the search for meaning and the right way to live. And from that inspiration, over 2,300 years ago, in the vibrant city of Athens, Stoicism was officially born from what seemed like a tragedy. The story goes that there was a wealthy merchant named Zeno of Citium. During a sea voyage, the ship carrying his entire fortune unfortunately sank in a storm. In an instant, Zeno went from being a rich man to being penniless, homeless, and stranded in Athens. Try putting yourself in Zeno's shoes, everyone. Losing everything you've worked so hard to build. It would surely be a devastating shock, capable of plunging anyone into despair, even depression. But not Zeno. Perhaps because he had been exposed to philosophical ideas from a young age, especially about Socrates, this event didn't break him. Instead, it became a fateful turning point. Later, Zeno would even cheerfully say, "I made a prosperous voyage when I suffered shipwreck," because it was precisely that shipwreck that brought him to Athens, the cradle of Western philosophy, where he had the opportunity to learn, reflect, and ultimately found his own school of philosophy, Stoicism, in a place called the Stoa Poikile, meaning painted porch. And from that word Stoa, the name Stoicism originated. Zeno's story teaches us an important lesson right from the start. Adversity, no matter how terrible, can become an opportunity if we know how to perceive and face it. Since Zeno, Stoicism developed and was inherited by many other brilliant thinkers, each contributing their own perspectives and enriching the school. We must mention some key figures. The first one is Seneca, a renowned Roman statesman, playwright, and philosopher. His life was full of ups and downs. He served as an advisor to Emperor Nero and was later exiled. Yet, even in adversity, Seneca maintained remarkable tranquility. He left us profound yet accessible philosophical letters from a Stoic, like heartfelt advice to his friend Lucilius, and also to all of us on how to deal with all sorts of life issues, from anger and grief to friendship and death. Reading Seneca feels like conversing with a wise, experienced, and compassionate friend. The second one is Epictetus, a figure with a remarkable background. He was born a slave. Legend has it his leg was broken by his master. However, adversity couldn't crush Epictetus's spirit of learning and iron will. After gaining his freedom, he diligently studied and became a respected philosopher and teacher, opening his own school to spread Stoic thought. The core of Epictetus's philosophy is the clear distinction between what is within our control, our thoughts, attitudes, actions, and what is outside our control, our body, possessions, reputation, and others' actions. He taught that true freedom and happiness can only be found when we focus on the internal, on what no one can take away from us. His teachings were recorded by his student Arrian in the Discourses and the Enchiridion handbook, concise but incredibly powerful works. The third one is Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most famous Stoic in the modern world. He was not just a philosopher, but also a powerful Roman emperor, reigning during a turbulent period marked by constant wars, plagues, and political instability. Amidst the immense pressures of ruling and these overwhelming challenges, Marcus Aurelius still took time each evening to write for himself, recording his reflections, self-admonishments, and Stoic practices to maintain his mental clarity, ethics, and tranquility. These private notes were later compiled into the book Meditations, a timeless classic on self-examination, courage, and practical wisdom. Reading Meditations feels like stepping into the inner world of an emperor, striving to live a meaningful and virtuous life amidst countless trials. He famously wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This is an invaluable reminder. The fourth one is Musonius Rufus, Epictetus's teacher, another noteworthy Roman Stoic, often called the Roman Socrates. Unlike philosophers who focused heavily on abstract theory, Musonius Rufus emphasized applying philosophy to daily life. He offered very specific advice on diet, clothing, how to treat parents, managing personal life, marriage, and raising children. He believed philosophy wasn't just for contemplation, but for living. Through these representative figures, we see that Stoicism wasn't exclusive to any particular class. From a slave, Epictetus, to an emperor, Marcus Aurelius, from a statesman, Seneca, to a teacher, Musonius Rufus, they all found in Stoicism inner strength, a moral compass, and a path to tranquility and happiness, regardless of their background or life circumstances. This gives us confidence. No matter who you are or where you are on your life journey, you can learn and apply the principles of Stoicism to live a more meaningful and resilient life. So, what are these core principles? Let's explore them in the next part. Now let's journey into the heart of Stoicism, uncovering the foundational philosophies that have helped countless generations find peace and inner strength. William B. Irvine synthesizes and explains them very clearly in his book. I'll share the main ideas with you, adding some perspectives and examples to make them easier to grasp. Philosophy 1. The Art of Negative Visualization. The name sounds a bit strange, maybe even negative, right? Who wants to imagine bad things happening? We're usually told to think positively and be optimistic. But hold on, the Stoics weren't advising us to become pessimistic killjoys. The purpose of this negative visualization is quite the opposite. It's a powerful tool to help us appreciate what we have more deeply and mentally prepare ourselves better for potential hardships, thereby achieving genuine tranquility. Think of it like a kind of mental vaccine. Injecting a small, imagined dose of adversity helps our mental immune system build antibodies, making us stronger when facing the real thing. So why is this practice useful? The Stoics highlighted 3 main reasons. Reason 1, preventing bad things. When we take time to contemplate the potential negative consequences of our actions, we become more cautious and tend to act in ways that prevent those outcomes. For example, as the book mentions, if you visualize the risk of fire from charging your phone while using it, you'll be more conscious about unplugging it or using a quality charger. Or before a long drive, imagining potential risks, car trouble, accidents, motivates you to check your car thoroughly and drive more attentively. It's not about paralyzing fear, but wise preparation. Reason 2, reducing the shock when bad things actually happen. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." And also, what is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect. Epictetus reminded us that everything in life, possessions, health, relationships, is impermanent and subject to change. This is the universal law of impermanence, anicca in Buddhism. If we fail to recognize this truth and live under the illusion that good things will last forever, we will suffer immensely when they are taken away. Practicing negative visualization is like conducting mental rehearsals. We practice getting used to the idea of potential loss, losing a job, money, or a loved one. Doesn't mean we want it to happen, but it means that if or when it does, we won't be completely blindsided, completely devastated. We've mentally prepared, and the pain, while still real, will be less intense and destructive. Epictetus even advised quite starkly, when you kiss your child, whisper to yourself, "You may die tomorrow." This sounds harsh, but his intention was to remind us of life's fragility, so we cherish every present moment with our child, loving them more fully instead of taking them for granted. Similarly, when saying goodbye to a friend, consider that it might be the last time, prompting us to treat each other with more kindness and appreciation. Reason 3, counteracting the hedonic adaptation effect. This is a very common psychological phenomenon. Humans tend to quickly get used to good things and take them for granted. You buy a new phone and feel thrilled for a few days or weeks, and then it becomes normal. You achieve a major goal, the joy lasts a while, and then you set a new goal. We constantly chase new desires, thinking they'll bring lasting happiness, only to quickly become bored or dissatisfied again. This effect traps us in a cycle of the grass is always greener, and we are never truly content with what we have. Negative visualization helps break this cycle. By regularly contemplating the absence of things we currently possess, our home, job, health, loved ones, we learn to feel gratitude and cherish them more. When you imagine being homeless, you appreciate your current shelter immensely. When you imagine losing your mobility, you cherish your healthy legs. It helps reset our sense of gratitude, finding joy in simple, small things we previously overlooked. Important note: the ultimate goal of negative visualization is not to live in fear or anxiety. It's to regain appreciation for life and the ability to enjoy what we currently have right now. It helps us realize that even without many things, we can still be happy. How to practice? In your spare moments, maybe when you wake up, before bed, or whenever you have a few quiet minutes, try contemplating what is most important to you. Try imagining what life would be like if you lost that thing or person. Not to torture yourself, but to feel more deeply its value in the present. You'll likely find your heart filled with gratitude. You'll see life with new eyes, appreciating every meal, every cup of coffee, every page of a book, holding your loved one's hand, hugging your child, even the neighbor's noise, because you're grateful you can still hear. As William B. Irvine writes, this simple meditative exercise has incredibly powerful transformative potential. It awakens us to the simple beauty of the world around us. Philosophy 2. The trichotomy of control, the power of focusing correctly. This is perhaps one of the most famous and useful ideas from Stoicism. It acts like an intelligent filter, helping us categorize everything in life and decide where to invest our energy to achieve tranquility. The Stoics pointed out that much of our suffering, anger, helplessness, anxiety, stems from two fundamental errors. 1. We try to control things that are completely beyond our control. Examples: the weather, traffic jams, what others think of us, others' actions, the past, stock market fluctuations, election results. When we invest our mental and emotional energy in these things, wanting them to go our way, and they don't, we feel disappointed, angry, and powerless. 2. We don't exert our full effort on the things we can control. Instead, we blame circumstances, other people, or fate. We make excuses, justifying our lack of effort. The result is still dissatisfaction, complaining, and feeling like a Vic. To escape these two traps and find inner peace, Epictetus offered a clear distinction, which William B. Irvine calls the trichotomy of control. Everything in life falls into one of three categories. Category 1, things over which we have complete control. This is our true domain, where our power resides. It includes our personal goals, e.g., learning a new skill, improving health. Our core values we choose to live by, e.g., honesty, kindness, courage. Our interpretations of events, our attitude, perspective. Our decisions and actions, what we choose to eat, do, say, how we react. In short, our inner world and our conscious choices. Category 2, things over which we have absolutely no control. These are external factors and objective events. Examples: whether it rains or shines, what others think, say, or do about to you. The past cannot be changed. Natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, global pandemics. The family you were born into and your innate physical appearance. The economy, Global political situations. Category 3. Things over which we have some but not complete control. These are situations where the final outcome depends not only on our efforts, but also on external factors. Examples: the result of a tennis match. You control your training, strategy, and focus, but not your opponent's form, the referee's calls, or a sudden gust of wind. The outcome of a job interview. You control your preparation, resume, answers, attire, and attitude, but not the interviewer's thoughts, other candidates, or the company's actual needs. Your health. You control diet, exercise, and checkups, but not genetics or unforeseen illnesses. The success of a business project. You control the planning, effort, and product service quality, but not market reaction, competitors' actions, or macroeconomic factors. So, what's the Stoic strategy? For Category 2, no control. Learn to accept them. Don't waste a single second of energy or emotion trying to change them or getting upset because they aren't how you want them to be. As the famous serenity prayer goes, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Remember, no event is inherently good or bad. It's our judgment about it that gives it meaning. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." Losing a job isn't the end of the world. It could be an opportunity for a better one, or starting your own path. Being criticized doesn't mean you're worthless. It's just someone's opinion. The power lies in how we choose to respond. We have the power to maintain inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. For Category 1, complete control. This is where you must focus all your attention and effort. Master your thoughts, master your emotions, master your actions. Set meaningful goals and live by the good values you've chosen. Strive your best within your sphere of control. This is the key to freedom and self-mastery. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. For Category 3, some control. Apply the strategy of internalizing goals. Instead of setting your goal on the final outcome, which you only partially control, set your goal on your effort and actions, which you completely control. Instead of aiming, "I must win this tennis match," aim, "I will play my best, focus on every point, and demonstrate my skills to the best of my ability." Instead of aiming, "I must get this job," aim, "I will prepare as thoroughly as possible for the interview and present myself professionally and genuinely." Instead of aiming, "My product must be the market leader," aim, "I will create the best possible product and market it as effectively as I can within my means." When you internalize your goals this way, you free yourself from anxiety about the outcome. Whatever the final result, you can still feel satisfied knowing you did your best within your control. Your tranquility and self-respect won't depend on external luck or chance. In summary, the trichotomy of control is an incredibly powerful tool for reclaiming mastery over your life. It helps us stop wasting energy on futile battles against reality and focus on building inner resilience and meaningful life from what is truly ours. Don't seek contentment by changing the world around you. Seek it by changing yourself, your desires, and your perspective. Philosophy 3. Living in accordance with nature and virtue. This might sound a bit abstract, but it's another foundational principle of Stoicism, guiding us on how to live a good and meaningful life. Living in accordance with nature. Nature here means more than just trees and mountains. For the Stoics, nature encompasses two main aspects. Human nature. Humans are endowed with reason. This is what fundamentally distinguishes us from other animals. Therefore, living according to human nature means living a life guided by reason, using our ability to think, judge, and understand the world to make sound choices. We shouldn't let base instincts or fleeting desires overpower our reason. Cosmic order. The Stoics believe the universe operates according to rational, orderly principles, the logos. Living in accordance with nature also means accepting this order, accepting what happens to us as part of a larger picture we don't fully control, closely related to the trichotomy of contra. Instead of resisting or complaining about events, learn to accept and adapt wisely. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself of his small place in the vast cosmos and the need to accept the flow of events. Living in accordance with virtue. This is the ultimate goal for a Stoic practitioner. True happiness, eudaimonia, comes not from external factors like wealth, fame, or pleasure, but from cultivating and living by virtue. Virtue is considered the sole good. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues. Wisdom, Sophia Prudentia, the ability to judge correctly, to distinguish what is truly good, bad, or indifferent. Knowing what to do and what to avoid. Knowing how to apply Stoic principles to specific situations. Justice, Dikaiosune Justitia, treating others fairly, kindly, and with respect. Acting for the common good of the community. Being honest, keeping promises. Courage, Andrea or Fortitudo. Not just physical bravery, but moral and mental courage. Daring to face difficulties, adversity, fear, and pain. Daring to stand up for what's right. Living according to one's values, even when facing opposition or ridicule. Temperance, self-control. Sophrosine temperentia. The ability to moderate desires, emotions, and behaviors. Living moderately, avoiding excess. Not letting fleeting pleasures or negative emotions like anger, jealousy, greed dictate reason and action. For the Stoics, living a virtuous life is its own reward. Happiness and peace are the natural results of living rightly, not something to be pursued externally. The more we live in accordance with nature, using reason and accepting the cosmic order, and the more we cultivate virtue, the more peaceful, resilient, and meaningful our lives will feel. Conversely, the more we stray from reason, fight reality, and act against virtue, the more likely we are to fall into anxiety, dissatisfaction, and suffering. Achieving this requires constant cultivation of self-control. Marcus Aurelius warned about the allure of pleasure. It's deceptive, sneaking into the mind through all senses, whispering sweet invitations to overwhelm reason and make us slaves to desire. He advised us to learn to recognize and resist those whispers. When a strong desire arises, to binge on sweets, buy an unnecessary luxury item, retaliate against someone who angered you. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this desire natural, rational, necessary? Is it consistent with virtue? What will be the long-term consequences of indulging it? This is a constant inner battle, but it's the effort to fight for reason and virtue that brings true value and meaning to life. Philosophy 4. The power of self-reflection. Even the best philosophy becomes meaningless if we don't practice it and regularly review that practice. This highlights the importance of self-observation and reflection, an essential skill heavily emphasized by the Stoics. Socrates famously stated, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Why? Because if we don't pause to look at, evaluate what happened, what we did, thought, felt, we cannot learn from experience, cannot recognize mistakes to correct them, cannot improve. We'll just keep repeating old patterns and automatic reactions and never truly master ourselves. The Stoics offered very specific advice on practicing reflection. Seneca recommended setting aside time at the end of each day to review oneself. He compared himself to a judge examining the day's actions. Ask yourself, what good did I do today? What mistakes did I make? E.g., did I lose my temper unnecessarily? Say something hopeful? Let fear stop me from doing the right thing? What weakness did I overcome or improve upon? How well did I practice Stoic principles, accepting the uncontrollable, focusing on the controllable, living virtuously? What disturbed my tranquility? Why? What can I do better tomorrow? The point isn't negative self-flagellation, but to gain clearer awareness of your behavior, thoughts, and emotions, allowing for necessary adjustments the next day. It's like an athlete reviewing game footage to analyze errors and improve technique. Epictetus proposed the idea of creating an inner Stoic observer. Imagine a wiser, calmer version of yourself, constantly watching and evaluating your efforts to practice Stoicism throughout the day. When you're about to get angry, this observer reminds you, wait, is this a rational response? Is this within your control? When you feel envious, the observer asks, why are you letting someone else's fortune disturb your peace? This observer helps create a pause between the stimulus, the event, and the response, how we react. It's in that pause that we gain the opportunity to choose a conscious response aligned with reason and virtue, instead of reacting out of instinct or habit. As Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, whose ideas resonate deeply with Stoicism, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Benefits of regular self-reflection: increased self-awareness, understanding yourself better, strengths, weaknesses, automatic thought patterns and behaviors, improved decision-making, make wiser choices that are more aligned with your values, enhanced emotional regulation, recognizing negative emotions early and employing effective coping strategies, promoted personal growth, learning from mistakes, reinforcing positive behaviors, and becoming better each day. Maintain tranquility, gaining a more objective perspective on events, not getting easily swept away by emotions, and maintaining inner balance. This skill of self-observation and reflection doesn't come naturally. It needs to be practiced regularly, like building muscle. You can start by journaling at the end of the day, or simply taking a few quiet minutes for self-inquiry. Gradually, it will become an invaluable habit, helping you navigate life more wisely and peacefully. These four core philosophies, negative visualization, the trichotomy of control, living in accordance with nature and virtue, and self-reflection, are the solid pillars supporting the structure of Stoicism. They are interconnected and mutually reinforcing, forming a comprehensive system of practice for building a resilient and tranquil life. But theory is one thing. How does this apply to the messy reality of everyday life? How does Stoicism help us deal with specific issues like relationship conflicts, the pain of loss, or the temptations of fame and fortune? Let's find out in the next section. One of the things that makes Stoicism so compelling and useful is its practicality. It doesn't just stay in the realm of lofty ideas. It offers concrete strategies for dealing with the very real, everyday problems we all face. Let's see how Stoicism helps us in some key areas. Area 1. Stoicism and relationships. Harmony without losing self-possession. Humans are social creatures. Our relationships, family, friends, colleagues, romantic partners, are sources of immense joy, support, and meaning. But they are also, simultaneously, frequent sources of frustration, trouble, conflict, and hurt, easily disrupting our inner peace. Some might think the best solution is to withdraw from complex relationships and live like a hermit to keep the soul quiet. But the Stoics disagreed. They believe that participating in society and fulfilling our duties towards others, as parents, children, friends, and citizens is part of living according to human nature. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. Running away isn't the answer. Instead, Stoicism teaches us how to engage in relationships wisely, how to achieve harmony and contribute value while maintaining inner tranquility and self-possession. How? Here are a few Stoic pointers. Define your values and principles clearly. Have a blueprint for how you want to treat others and how you expect to be treated, based on virtues like justice, kindness, respect. Use this as your guide in all interactions. When you know who you are and where you stand, you'll be less swayed by others' opinions or actions. Choose your company wisely. Seneca advised avoiding close association with people holding corrupt or negative values, as vice is contagious. Choose friends who help you become better and who share your core values. However, this doesn't mean judging or shunning everyone different from you. Practice tolerance for others and strictness with yourself. This is a golden rule. We cannot control others' thoughts or actions. Category 2 of the trichotomy. They might make mistakes, hold different views, and do things that annoy us. Instead of judging, criticizing, or trying to change them, which often leads to conflict and frustration, practice tolerance. Remember, they act based on their own perceptions and understanding, however flawed. Focus on controlling your response. While being tolerant of others' faults, be strict with yourself, always striving to live up to the principles and virtues you've chosen. Handle insults wisely. Being bad-mouthed, criticized, or insulted is one of the easiest ways to get hurt and lose composure. The natural reaction is often anger, wanting to retaliate. But what does a Stoic practitioner do? Step 1. Pause. Don't react immediately. Create that space between the insult and your response. Step 2. Reflect rationally. Ask yourself, is there any truth to what the other person said? If yes or partly true, then why be angry? See it as feedback, however unpleasant, that helps you recognize a weakness to improve upon. Mentally, thank them for pointing it out. If completely false, then their words are just meaningless noise, stemming from their ignorance, prejudice, or malice. They don't reflect who you truly are. Why let that noise disturb your peace? You can calmly state the truth if necessary and appropriate, or simply ignore it. Step 3. Remember, you don't control others' opinions, but you control your self-worth. Epictetus emphasized, it is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your judgment that these things are insulting. Don't give others the power to hurt you by placing too much importance on their opinions. Your happiness and self-respect should come from living according to your values, not from external approval or applause. Step 4. Choose your response if necessary. If you decide a response is needed, the Stoics suggested 2 effective approaches. Humor. Respond with a witty joke about the insult itself or about yourself. This shows you don't take the insult seriously, even find it amusing. It deflates the attack and often leaves the insulter feeling foolish or awkward. Like the example of the man with a limp joking about his own leg. Silence, reacting with complete silence, acting as if the insulter never spoke. This sends an even stronger message than humor. You are utterly indifferent to their existence and their words. They aren't important enough for you to bother with. Often, this silence makes the attacker feel deflated and retreat. In special cases, when insults cross lines, involve persistent harassment, or harm others, example, bullying, stronger measures like punishment or intervention might be necessary. However, the purpose must be correction and protection, not personal revenge. Truly mastering these approaches in relationships requires significant inner strength and practice. Stoicism isn't a magic wand to eliminate conflict, but it provides the tools and mindset to navigate relationships calmly and autonomously and maintain necessary harmony. Area 2. Stoicism and adversity. Suffering. Finding strength in the storm. Life isn't always sunny. Suffering, loss, failure, and illness are unavoidable parts of the human journey. No philosophy, including Stoicism, can completely eliminate grief or pain. So how does Stoicism help us when facing painful events? It doesn't deny the pain, but teaches us how to confront and overcome it with resilience and dignity. Allow grief, but don't let it drown you. Seneca advised, "Let tears flow, but let them stop. Let the heaviest sigh issue from your breast, but let it have an end." Stoicism doesn't demand you become unfeeling. Grief is a natural human response to loss. Allow yourself to feel the pain, but simultaneously, use reason as a life raft to prevent being completely submerged by it. Use reason's power to reframe perspective. When overwhelming emotions take hold, reason is your most effective weapon. Reason reminds a grieving mother that instead of focusing solely on the pain of loss, she can be grateful for the years her child did exist and the joys shared. Remember that the departed would never want the living to suffer endlessly. Reason tells someone who failed that this isn't the end, but a lesson. Analyze the causes, learn from them, and get back up. Failure is part of growth. Reason reminds us of nature's laws. Everything changes. Birth, aging, sickness, and death are inevitable. The more we fight reality and cling to what's gone, the more we suffer. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up hope or love. It means accepting reality so we can move forward more peacefully. Seneca, while in exile, comforted his mother by telling her he wasn't suffering from his situation, so she shouldn't suffer either. It was a rational encouragement, helping her see things differently. Focus on constructive action. Instead of drowning in despair and self-pity, ask, in this situation, what is within my control? What can I do to improve things, even slightly? What can I learn from this experience? Channel your energy into positive actions, however small, to gradually regain a sense of control and hope. Be cautious about forcing grief processing. The book touches upon interesting research regarding mandatory counseling after disasters or loss. Sometimes, forcing people to talk about trauma or process it according to a set protocol can be counterproductive, hindering their natural healing process. This underscores the importance of respecting individual pacing and coping styles. Ultimately, inner strength and the individual's capacity to recover are paramount. Stoicism provides the foundation for building that inner strength. Adversity is the best forge for the soul. Stoicism doesn't make adversity disappear, but it turns us into stronger warriors, better able to endure and even find growth and meaning within the harshest trials. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Area 3. Stoicism and fame. Fortune, seeking true wealth. Modern society often equates happiness with fame and fortune. We're bombarded with images of successful, wealthy, admired people who secretly wish for their lives. But the Stoics held a very different, almost opposing view. The trap of seeking fame. Whether it's a large-scale celebrity or simply desiring admiration from friends, family, or colleagues, placing your happiness in others' hands, their approval or disapproval, is a mistake. Marcus Aurelius pointed out, the happiness of those who want to be popular depends on others. When you live to please others, to seek applause, You lose your own freedom. You constantly calculate, act how you think others want you to, and avoid anything that might displease them. You become a slave to public opinion and often end up feeling exhausted, empty, and dissatisfied. A Stoic practitioner seeks self-respect earned by living virtuously. Wealth doesn't guarantee happiness. It can even cause unhappiness. Sounds counterintuitive, right? Who wouldn't want to be rich? Yet Musonius Rufus said, if you wish to make someone miserable, you might consider bestowing a fortune upon him. Why? Wealth easily leads to higher-level hedonic adaptation. People get used to luxury, losing the ability to enjoy simple pleasures. They develop a taste only for the best, constantly wanting more, better, more expensive things, and rarely feeling truly satisfied. Maintaining a lavish lifestyle requires significant time, energy, and anxiety, fear of loss, fear of not keeping up. Wealth can corrupt character, making people arrogant, selfish, and dismissive of others. Stoics don't advocate poverty, but they don't pursue wealth as an ultimate goal. They view wealth, if they have it, as a tool, a servant, not a master. They might use wealth for good, helping others, supporting causes, but their happiness and tranquility don't depend on it. Seneca and Marcus Aurelius were very wealthy, but they weren't attached to their possessions. They were prepared to live simply if circumstances required. Seneca said, "He is a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver, but he is no less great who uses silver as if it were earthenware." It is the sign of an unstable mind not to be able to endure riches. The Eastern philosopher Lao Tzu had a similar insight. He who knows he has enough is rich. True wealth lies within, in self-control and contentment, not in the bank balance. Practicing voluntary discomfort/hardship. This is a unique and powerful Stoic practice to avoid becoming slaves to comfort and luxury, and to build resilience and non-attachment. The Stoics recommended intentionally experiencing minor hardship or deprivation from time to time. For examples, occasionally eat very simple plain meals. Try wearing minimal clothing to feel the cold. Walk or take public transport instead of your private car. Sleep on the floor instead of a soft mattress. Skip a meal. Travel simply. Stay in basic accommodation instead of luxury hotels. The purpose isn't self-torture, but to remind ourselves of the value of good living conditions we often take for granted. Tasty food, warm clothes, comfortable homes. We become more grateful. Prove to ourselves that we can live well, even happily, with less. This reduces the fear of poverty and loss. We realize we're stronger and more adaptable than we thought. Lessen our attachment to material things. Knowing we can thrive without many possessions changes our desires. We no longer feel it's essential to have luxury items or the latest gadgets. Seneca called this rehearsing poverty. It helps us build resilience and inner freedom, preventing us from being controlled by material possessions. Through these practical applications, we see that Stoicism is truly a comprehensive toolkit, helping us navigate almost every aspect of life, from complex relationships and painful adversity to our perspective on success and wealth. It doesn't promise an easy path, but it promises a path towards resilience, tranquility, and authentic meaning. Before we wrap up, I think it's helpful to address a few common misunderstandings about Stoicism, so we have a clearer and more accurate picture of this philosophy. Misconception 1. Stoics are emotionless, cold robots. This is perhaps the most common misunderstanding. Hearing Stoic, many imagine people suppressing all feelings, becoming dry and unfeeling. That's not the case at all. The Stoics didn't aim to eliminate emotions, but to manage them wisely. They recognized that disruptive, unhealthy emotions, like intense fear, uncontrolled anger, blind jealousy, and insatiable desire, often stem from faulty judgments of reason. The goal is to minimize these negative emotions by correcting those judgments. At the same time, they encouraged positive, healthy emotions like joy, arising from virtue, caution, rational avoidance of danger instead of fear, and goodwill, wishing well for others. They still felt love, friendship, compassion. Seneca wrote extensively on friendship. Marcus Aurelius expressed deep love for his family and humanity. They simply tried not to let negative, irrational emotions dominate and control their lives. They wanted to be masters of their emotions, not slaves to them. Misconception 2. Stoicism is about passive resignation and accepting fate. Another misunderstanding is that Stoics just passively accept everything that happens without taking action to change their circumstances. This is also incorrect. Remember the trichotomy of control. They accept what's completely uncontrollable, but put all their effort into what is controllable. They were people of action. Marcus Aurelius worked tirelessly to rule the Roman Empire amidst immense difficulties. Seneca was involved in politics. Epictetus ran a school. They didn't sit idly by. They accepted objective reality, but always strove to act in the best, most virtuous way possible within their sphere of influence to improve the situation, or at least live up to their values. Their acceptance wasn't resignation, it was wisdom, not wasting energy on futile battles, allowing them to focus on actions that truly mattered and were effective. Misconception 3. Stoicism is too harsh, pessimistic? Practices like negative visualization or voluntary hardship might lead some to feel the philosophy is overly harsh or pessimistic. But as we've discussed, the ultimate goal of these practices is actually very positive: to appreciate life more, find joy in simple things, and build inner strength. Stoicism is actually a path towards authentic joy, stoic joy, a deep, stable joy, independent of external circumstances, stemming from inner peace and living a meaningful, virtuous life. It's not pessimistic, it's profoundly realistic about the nature of life and human beings. Hopefully, clarifying these misunderstandings helps you see Stoicism in a more favorable and accurate light, recognizing it not as dry or distant, but as a truly wise and helpful companion on life's journey. We might be unhappy because we've misplaced our values, investing them in fleeting external things, fame, wealth, others' approval, things largely outside our control and incapable of providing lasting peace. We might be anxious because we lack a solid inner anchor, a clear life philosophy to hold on to when life's storms hit. We scramble to control the world around us while neglecting to master our own minds. We might crumble easily because we've grown accustomed to comfort, lost our tolerance for hardship, and forgotten how to find joy in the simplest things. Stoicism, with its timeless principles, invites us to turn inward. It encourages us to focus on building our own inner citadel, a place no storm of life can breach. Learn to accept what you cannot change with tranquility. Devote your energy to perfecting what is yours, your thoughts, attitudes, actions, and above all, your virtue. Learn to cherish the present moment, finding joy in small things. Cultivate self-control so you aren't swept away by fleeting desires or negative emotions. Treat others with justice and tolerance, and face adversity with courage. And never stop learning, reflecting, and striving to become a better version of yourself. The journey of practicing Stoicism isn't a sprint, it's a lifelong marathon, requiring persistence, effort, and self-awareness every day. There will be times we succeed and times we stumble, reverting to old habits. That's perfectly normal. What matters is that we recognize it, adjust, and keep going. As Seneca said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Though perhaps more relevant here is a sentiment like resilience. Strength lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. William B. Irvine's book is an excellent guide for anyone wanting to start this journey. It not only explains the concepts clearly and easily, but also provides many practical tips and exercises to apply in daily life. If you feel inspired after this video, I wholeheartedly recommend you pick up a copy. Many readers on platforms like Goodreads and Amazon comment that it's one of the most approachable and helpful introductions to Stoicism for beginners, helping them change their perspective on life and find genuine peace. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought. Whether you choose to follow Stoicism or any other life philosophy that resonates with you, the act of having a philosophy, a guiding compass for your journey, is incredibly important. It helps us live more consciously, more purposefully, and more resiliently in the face of whatever life throws our way. Remember, true happiness and peace aren't destinations at the end of the road. They reside in how we walk the path each day and in how we choose to engage with this life. I truly hope today's exploration of Stoicism has given you some fresh perspectives and useful ideas for your own personal growth journey. What are your thoughts on Stoicism? Do you feel this philosophy resonates with you? Or perhaps you've been practicing some of its principles without even realizing it? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. BookSmart Insights loves hearing from and learning with our amazing community. If you found this video helpful and valuable, please give it a like to show your support. It means a lot. And if you want to continue exploring more great books and profound personal development lessons with BookSmart Insights, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It's completely free and genuinely helps the channel grow and create more quality content. Please also share this video with friends, family, or anyone you think might be searching for more tranquility and inner strength in today's challenging world. You never know. Your small share could make a big difference for someone else. Once again, thank you so much for spending your valuable time listening and journeying with BookSmart Insights today. May you always find peace, wisdom, and joy on your path. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.